Hey everybody, your favorite Canadian info warrior back at you another week. I just finished recording my video over on the Canuckistan Reacts channel, and then I decided to go out and get gas for my truck, and now I'm on the way home. So I thought, what better time to call you up and see what's shaking. Now, most of you still aren't playing the game. You're not commenting on the videos. So you're not giving me ideas for stuff to talk about next time around. And I would really appreciate it if you would go down there and do that. But I also appreciate that many of you are liking, and that's good. There's a few of you that are subscribed. I think maybe a dozen people. So, I'm trying to get some traction on this channel, if we can do that. Trying to get some traction on both channels, actually, of course. But, so what do we got happening this week? Well, I don't know if you care much about American politics. I don't, but I figured I'd throw this in to fill a little bit of the void, because the United States Supreme Court decided that a president, or former president, can't be criminally charged for anything that he did while in the Oval Office. Now, of course, that doesn't mean, I don't think it means vice presidents. I don't think vice presidents were included in that. I think it's just presidents, because Biden was Obama's vice president, and it's starting to look like Biden and Hunter had their deals with Ukraine going back at least as far back as those days, if not farther. Yes, I'm driving, of course, you can see that. I'm using my new vent clip that I told you about last week, for those of you who are paying attention. Seems to be a little bouncy. I don't know how much of this video is going to get used, because it seems to bounce a fair bit when I hit a bump or something, and I can't really help that. So I don't know if Apple's AI can smooth that out. If it can, great. If not, I may not even be using this video. But we'll see what happens, right? So what do you think? Is that a good decision by the U.S. Supreme Court? Because, many of us, obviously not all of us, there's still a lot of brainwashed people out there, but many of us have known that the various presidents throughout the years have been doing illegal and corrupt shit for years, for decades. And this decision basically just means they can do it out in the open now. They don't have to cover it up. They don't have to try to sweep it under the rug. They can just do it right in front of our noses now. Well, I say our noses, but I'm a Canadian, so our communist leader is already doing it right in front of our noses. But for the Americans, that's a bit of a difference. The president can just do whatever he wants right under everybody's nose, and there's no accountability. Presidents now have no accountability, thanks to that decision by the Supreme Court. And I'm not going to go with what Joe Biden said the other night about it, because obviously he was meaning Trump, because all the Democrats are trying to make people believe that Trump is going to be a dictator, that he's going to take away voting, and he's just going to declare himself supreme ruler like Kim Jong-il, or maybe along the lines of Vladimir Putin. But I don't believe that Trump is that kind of person. Not that I particularly care for Trump. Really, what I think needs to happen is, I think both sides need to get rid of who they've got running and put in somebody else. They need to nominate someone else for that, because neither one of them is a good choice. Joe Biden is the walking dead, and what they're doing to him is elder abuse. They're propping him up. They're likely drugging him for certain times of day so that he can be effective. And, so that's not a good thing. I wouldn't want to see that happening to my grandfather. And then there's Trump, on the other hand, who, hey, if anybody has read The Art of the Deal, you know what he's doing. And Trump never pays his bills. He's had so many companies go bankrupt. He's filed for bankruptcy on them because they just weren't making a profit or whatever. And he never paid any of those bills, because since it was a corporation and he declared corporate bankruptcy, he wasn't personally accountable for that money. And there's a lot of stories about Trump not paying his bills to contractors. and of course, that's not the only thing. I mean, Trump's a circus sideshow. I mean, I still like some of his policies. I liked some of the things he did when he was in office, but there's a lot about him that I don't like. And if we could get some of those policies into the head of somebody who's a little more respectable, I think we might have something there, But again, that's America. I'm in Canada. So it doesn't, I can't say it doesn't really matter, because what happens in America affects Canada, and Canada often follows suit with America if we get our populace, we're probably almost even half and half, liberal and conservative. Obviously there's a lot of NDP voters out there too, but just in generally speaking terms, in terms of left and right, we're probably evenly split left and right in this country. And that's why we have a flip-flop party, which is the NDP. So if you don't like the conservatives and you don't like the liberals, you can vote NDP. Or if you voted liberal last year and didn't like the way it turned out, so you want to vote NDP this year because you don't want to vote conservative, whatever, that's the only reason we have that party. I have to close this so I don't get copyright strike for that song that's playing outside. Anyway, what I was getting at is that politically, Canada often follows what America does. We've got enough liberals in this country, and we've got enough conservatives in this country that regardless of what happens in the US, one way or another, half of Canada is going to follow suit. Now I can open my sunroof again. So that's why you hear Canadians talking about American politics as though they were our politics, because, in a kind of a runoff way, they are. So, I don't know. We've got Pierre Poilievre campaigning as the next leader of the Conservative Party and the next leader of Canada, because there's going to be enough people that are so fed up with Justin Trudeau, the election probably is going to go conservative. And he's running on a platform of, he calls it Axe the Tax. He's talking about getting rid of Trudeau's carbon tax. And I would love to see that happen, because I know that the carbon tax is nothing but a scam anyway. It's just a way for them to line their pockets, because if global warming, global climate change is happening, you can't buy your way out of it. You know, you can't just tax your way out of it. It doesn't work that way. The climate doesn't care about your money. I would love, and it's more than that too. Like, this carbon tax is killing people, literally. You know, there are people who are starving because of it, or are homeless because of it, because they can't afford to do both, live and eat. And it's a sad situation to see that happening in this country. And I've felt the pinch myself. You know, I'm not quite at that point yet where I have to choose between paying the gas bill or buying groceries. But, you know, I mean, I've had to cut back on my Amazon spending, that's for sure. My grocery bills are so high. So, you know, getting back to the carbon tax, I would love to see that gone. But I don't believe Poilievre is going to do it. A, I don't believe his party would let him do it. And B, I don't believe he would want to anyway. I think he's just like any other politician. They're corrupt to the core, and he's going to keep that tax in place. Like, the GST was only supposed to last for a short while, and it was supposed to be removed by the Conservatives. We still have it in the form of HST now. It's just been reworked, but we still have that amount of tax that we're paying. They're not going to get rid of the carbon tax. They're either going to replace it with something else, or they're just going to outright keep it in and lie to us about how they can't get rid of it now. One way or the other, we're not getting rid of that carbon tax. Which is very annoying to many Canadians, myself included, because that carbon tax is ridiculous. It's the reason why my groceries are $125 a week instead of $45 a week. I know I mentioned last week that the grocery stores are posting record profits, and that's probably got more to do with why I'm paying so much for groceries than the carbon tax does. But that carbon tax is certainly a contributor, because it makes everything more expensive. It's, you know, it makes the transportation of goods cost more money, because the trucking companies have to charge more to make up for how much more it's costing them to operate. That's the only way, Ronald Reagan, that's the only way that trickle-down economics works. Trickle-down economics works in the sense of, when it costs more for the big guys, it costs more for the little guys. But trickle-down economics doesn't work in the sense of big guys saving and the little guys saving. No, it don't work that way. Anyway, I think that's about all I have for you this week. I'd like to see some discussion in the comments section, but I'm not holding my breath. I'm almost home here, so I guess I'm going to, this road is bumpy. I guess I'm gonna close this video out right here, and you know, Buddy Christ and Daffy Duck willing, I'll see you next week. Have a good one, everyone.